Hello, my name's Stuart, and I make videos about conspiracies which interest me, and particularly conspiracies which I don't believe are true. The one I'm talking about today is the Port Arthur Massacre from the 90s, and Martin Bryant, the perpetrator, who many people believe is innocent. So I was quite surprised about this when I found out that there are people out there who actually believe he didn't do it, because obviously there seems to be quite a bit of evidence. So I've reviewed all the claims and counterclaims and the evidence that he didn't do it, etc. And here are my thoughts. Okay, so obviously one issue is that Bryant was taken, he was interviewed by police, and there's actually footage of the interview where he is actually admitting to things that he's done, which are consistent with what happened that day. For example, he used a gun and got a man into the boot of a car at gunpoint, and he actually admitted to doing that, and he even said what gun he used. And on this particular video that I've seen, he actually was laughing and smiling and saying it's a good job that this sort of thing happens, otherwise you guys will be out of a job. You know, that's not really consistent with somebody who a lot of people are claiming has got the mind of a child. No, he doesn't have the mind of a child. Anybody that can make a sick joke like that does not have the mind of a child. There are claims that he was coerced into making a confession. Well, on the video that I've seen, the police officers are being very polite with him and quite reasonable. And of course then it's claimed that, well, this was all happening off camera. Well, if it was happening off camera and you've got no evidence of it, how do you know it was happening at all? Certainly in Brendan Dassey's case in America, somebody who I believe is innocent, and he was really convicted on the basis of his confession, you can see quite clearly that the police officers are saying to him, look, you know, they're feeding him information and they're getting a confession out of him and saying, look, we can all go home, you can go home and play with your Xbox, etc., etc., once this is all done and dusted. And yeah, I mean, I don't believe that Brendan Dassey is guilty, but I do believe that Bryant is guilty. So what else has been claimed about Bryant? It's been claimed that Graham Collier, who was there on the day and who was shot in a cafe, has said that Bryant didn't do it. No, that's not true. This is a claim that we hear, and the only evidence I've found out there is a link to a document which purports to be a statement that he gave to Tasmania police. I don't know if it's authentic or not, but if you go by that particular statement, he says that the man who shot and who was shooting had long bedraggled hair that went down beyond his shoulders. Now that's absolutely consistent with how Bryant looks. He also said that he had a pockmark, that he had acne on his face, and I'm not too sure if that is true or not. But it doesn't really matter, because he got at least one detail really correct. How many men have got long blonde hair? Not many. And I'd also like to say that victims of crime do not necessarily make the best eyewitnesses. I was chased down by a lunatic who got out of a van and chased me with an intent to beat me up. I was terrified. I locked eyes with him and, I got a good look at him. Can I remember what he looks like? No. Am I confident I could pick him out of a lineup of similar looking men? No. I mean, all I could say about him, he was like mid-20s, fairly well built, probably about 5'10"-ish, and, what did he have? Sort of short, sort of light hair, maybe. But I would not be confident even about that description, because I was terrified at the time, and internalizing a description of him was not something which was top of my priorities when I was trying to get away from him. So eyewitness testimony is not really that reliable. So if there are people there saying, oh, it wasn't Bryant, I wouldn't count that as being reliable. However, nobody is saying it wasn't Bryant, as far as I can see. As for Graham Collier, claims have been made against him that he was in his hospital bed, and that policemen were coming with photographs saying, who was it, and which one was it, and he says, I think it's this one. Oh, so it's Martin Bryant then? No, it's not. Well, this is somebody reporting that this happened, just, like an influencer, just, somebody on Instagram. Who is he? I don't even know who he is. Where did he get this information from? Now, if we could find a video of Graham Collier talking, saying, no, it definitely wasn't Bryant, I've seen Bryant's photo, it definitely was not him, then I would give some credence to that. But there is no such evidence. If it's true that there are lots of witnesses saying it definitely wasn't Bryant, why aren't they forming a campaign group? Where are they? Why aren't they coming out and say, look, there's an innocent man in prison, it wasn't him? Nobody's doing that. And why is nobody doing that? Because nobody's making those claims, obviously. This is all conspiracy nonsense, people spreading lies on the internet, trying to get themselves some views. Okay, so just to go on, people say, oh yeah, he couldn't possibly have got all those successful headshots. He wasn't really that expert a shooter. He was in a cafe shooting at, from 5 or 6 feet. And he was using a sort of high caliber assault rifles and weapons. I think he probably, even if he was a bit simple, which, I would probably dispute, just because he got a low IQ test, it doesn't mean that he's stupid in other ways. It doesn't mean that he can't pull the trigger and hit a target. This is all false reasoning. So I haven't really seen any good evidence from the conspiracy theorists that this didn't happen, or rather that it wasn't Bryant. The other point is the whole thing kicked off when Bryant went armed to a guest house that his father had bid on and lost. He'd bid for this guest house. He desperately wanted to own it. Somebody else had beat him to it. He had a beef with the people that beat him to it. He was angry with them. He hated them. And obviously he's dead now, or, he was dead at the time. And he told his son, these bastards, it's fucked up my life, and, etc., etc. Well, guess what? This was the first place that Bryant went, and he killed the owners, man and wife. He killed them in cold blood, left them there, and then obviously went on, did his killing spree. And he came back later. He took a hostage. The police had tracked him down by then, and they were negotiating with him. He killed the hostage, and eventually he set the guest house on fire. The police took him prisoner and recovered a firearm at the scene and 3 dead bodies. Yeah, these are all facts, and people are out there saying he didn't do anything. Oh my God. Or are you saying that, he did that, but he didn't do the Port Arthur massacre? Oh yeah, so there's another shooter, is there? So he killed 3 people that day, but there's also somebody else. Well, anyway, if he killed 3 people, he's in the right place, isn't he? Right, so these are facts. He did actually go and kill 2 people that his father had a beef with. He had a motive. Who else would do it? All right. We know that he was armed. We know that he was disturbed. We know that he was a misfit. He fits the profile of somebody that would do this kind of thing. And yet there are people out there saying, oh no, he didn't do it. It was some big conspiracy because the government wanted to, pass laws against gun ownership. Oh yeah, they're going to somehow engineer this and have a massacre just so that they can pass these laws. All right. What else are people saying? His mother's been visiting him frequently. She doesn't believe that he did it. However, when interviewed on 60 Minutes, Australia asked, have you actually asked him, did he do it? She says, yes, I have. And he said, and the interviewer said, well, what does he say? He said, he doesn't say anything. Right. Really? Well, I would think that if his mum is asking him, did you do this thing, son? And he won't reply. That doesn't really speak for his innocence, does it? You would think he would say, no, Mum, for goodness sake, get me out of here, please, I didn't do it. And no word from Bryant. He's not saying anything. Apparently he's put on a lot of weight, he's rotting away there, and he's not continually protesting his innocence. He's keeping quiet, he's not saying anything. No, of course not, because, he had his fun. He had his fun, like all these mass killers do. They have their fun for a day, they have the moment of fame, and then there's payback, and then there's the reckoning. And then they've got to spend the rest of their lives rotting in prison, and they can contemplate whether it was really worth it. No, he did it. Okay, so there wasn't a trial where he was proven guilty because, of course, his defence realised there was such a mountain of evidence, it was futile to plead not guilty. You might get a lesser sentence if you admit to what you've done, and that's probably the best way forward. And he admitted it, he made a statement, he admitted to what he'd done. And of course he was then convicted. And people are saying that because of this, it means that he didn't have a fair trial, he wasn't proven guilty, etc. But it's the same throughout the world. if you admit to doing something, if you make a statement admitting that you've done something, that's usually considered to be evidence enough. Personally, I think they should also have some kind of a trial whereby the evidence is also presented, because it would stop this kind of conspiracy nonsense. But all around the world, we see this happening all the time. That people are convicted on the basis of confessions. That's just how things work. But in his case, there's also a ton of evidence. There's a ton of evidence, like the guest house evidence. He was caught red-handed with 3 dead bodies. He tried to burn. I mean, at least he's guilty of arson, if nothing else. Even if some other ghost shooter was there killing everybody else and shadowing him, and he wasn't doing anything at all, he at least set the building on fire. So no, he did it. Don't be stupid. So anyway, that's it. Yeah, no comments. I closed down comments because I don't want you idiots, who are conspiracy theorists, making noise on my channel. So yeah, that's my conclusion. He did the crime. There's plenty of evidence, and conspiracies grow up, everywhere, in every quarter. No matter how much evidence there is for somebody's guilt, there'll always be nuts out there who claim, "Oh no, he didn't do it." This, that, and the other, and an eyewitness said it wasn't him. Yeah, a lot of you are lying. I've been on forums. You're telling lies, saying Graham Collier said it wasn't Bryant. Graham Collier never said that. Give us the evidence of that. You can't, because it doesn't exist. Okay. Thanks for watching. Bryant's where he belongs. He did the murders, so, stop messing around. Bye for now.